The accommodation in Keble is one of the best accommodation out of all the colleges at Oxford. In first year, you either have an ensuite or you share a bathroom with one other person, and I feel like that's such a major bargain. Plus my room was quite big, and it's definitely bigger than my room at home, and I really just loved that room. Like, you could decorate it however you wanted it to look, and it just felt so comfy to live in. So I think the accommodation at Keble is great.
So this year I've been lucky enough to have a double bed ensuite room with a quad view in Keble, which means that I get to look over the green space in the middle of college. So it's an amazing room. I love it so much. Unfortunately, I'm not there at the moment. But I am the college accommodation officer this year, so I've organised the room ballots which decide where people will live and be able to choose their rooms, which is a really fair process. Everyone chooses a room which is within their price range, and all the rooms are amazing, so there's no problems with it at all.
The accommodation at Keble is great. The rooms are all lovely. There's not really such thing as a bad room, which is really nice. In first year, most people share their bathroom, and that's just such a good way to make friends. The girl that I shared my bathroom with is one of my closest friends now, so that's really nice, and it means that that's kind of the first friend that you make. And then in second year, my room has been beautiful. It's probably the nicest room I've ever been in my entire life, and you get to overlook maybe one of the quads, and it's just perfect.
I'm currently sharing a bathroom, and I have a view of a separate quad, but next year I've got an ensuite, and I've got a view of the main quad, so I'm going to be living lavish.
As a second year, I live in the Butterfield buildings, which are big red brick buildings around the main quad. I live on a corridor with 4 of my friends, which is lovely because there's always someone to borrow milk from. In my room, there is a single bed, a big armchair, a desk with a wheelie chair, and it also has an ensuite. There are chest of drawers, wardrobe, and bookcases set into the walls, and there is also, for reasons I have never entirely understood, a fridge in the wardrobe.
So I would say that Keble accommodation is probably some of the nicest uni accommodation I've come across. So my first year room was a large shared quad room, which means that I shared my bathroom with the girl who lived opposite me, and my room was quite big, but all of the rooms in Keble are really spacious. I had a desk, a bed, a sofa, and I also had like cupboards, shelves, and a kitchenette area, and then also a wash basin within my room too.
You're guaranteed accommodation for your first 3 years, which is really useful and just gives you that security. I always sort of said, why would you want to sort of choose to live outside a really nice old castle if you've got the sort of choice? It's also been really great in terms of just sort of managing costs. My room, all 3 years have been really good. I think the biggest thing that struck me was the rooms are quite spacious compared to being at home. It's like checking into a really nice hotel.
So there's a wide range of options for food. You can go to Hall and get breakfast, lunch or dinner with formal 3 times a week. And that food is a little bit more, it's like a full cooked meal. If you want something a bit more casual, you can go to the bar and get a pizza, a salad, a soup or a panini or something like that, which is a bit more relaxed. I quite like cooking myself, so I'll often go and buy ingredients and then make food in my room. And then the third years all have kitchens, so they're very welcome to do that as well. People tend to do a mixture of all 3. It's really a choice of personal preference.
So my favourite meal in Keble is probably brunch, because it's really nice at the weekend to have a bit of a lie-in and then go with all your friends to brunch and have a chat about what's happened in the week and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so the food is great, I'd say. Breakfast especially, so we've got waffles, which I'm a massive fan of. So I literally go to breakfast every morning just for the waffles.
I like the food personally. I think you can get a big, hearty, nutritious meal for a lot cheaper than if you ate out, and it's more sociable eating with everybody in the hall than just in your room, which I do sometimes, but they have a really good lasagna too.
I really like the food in hall and at the bar. I'm a vegetarian and there's lots of options for me, so that's really good.
It's definitely really nice for its price. But I don't always go down to Hall to get food sometimes. I sometimes make stuff in my room because I've got a microwave, but I can make some food out of. But if I do go to hall, the food there is really, really nice.
I think it's definitely easier than you think to make friends within college as well as outside of college. So in Freshers Week, everyone's basically in the same boat where they've just moved to somewhere brand new, they don't know that many people, so everyone's super, super friendly. But I would also say don't stress and think that you have to make all of your friends in Freshers Week, because I know that I've definitely made a lot of my really close friends in college after Freshers Week. I've even been making friends this term, so really don't stress about it.
It was quite easy to make friends at Keble because Freshers Week was really well organised and there was lots of events where you'd meet new people and you'd be put in random groups, so you'd kind of be forced to speak to new people, which you might not otherwise do, especially at other universities where Freshers Week isn't so well organised.
At the start of Keble, I found it really easy to make friends. I think there was loads of different opportunities and loads of different events on at Freshers Week that meant that you could find your people. Out of college, I made friends by talking to people on my course, and I also joined the football club. So there was loads and loads of ways to make friends through that.
So yeah, it's really easy to make friends. So in Freshers Week, there's like loads of events where you can meet people. Also people that like live on your corridor. Then there's like loads of societies as well, outside of college and inside. So like I do football in college, which is great. Met a lot of people through there. I'm also part of the African and Caribbean Society outside of college, so I've got a lot of friends there as well. And just generally, there'll probably just be events that you go to where you'll just interact with loads of people. And generally, I'd say like people are quite friendly. So yeah, like there's so many chances to meet plenty of people from all different types of backgrounds.
Within college, it is easy to make friends, but you do have to put in the effort. I remember really early in my first term of first year ringing my mum up and being like, I don't have anyone to talk to and I don't know why. And she was like, okay, approximately how often in the last week have you left your room? And I was like, oh. So yeah, talk to people in between classes, go to JCR events, sit next to people in hall, and you'll make friends in no time. The best way to make friends outside of college is to join a university-wide society. This is a bit different because you won't just bump into people like in the corridor, so you have to make a point of meeting up with them. For instance, I have a group of friends where once a term we all go for dinner in a different person's college.
Making friends can be like intimidating at first when there's a lot of new people, but I think in college there's a lot of events put on in Freshers Week which really help because they sort of cater to a lot of different interests. And outside of college you can get involved in different societies, like there's so many for loads of different interests, so it's easy to meet people that you have things in common with.
Making friends at Keble is something that I found really easy, or relatively easy to do, because everyone in here is so lovely, so bubbly, so friendly that it just made talking to new people really, really fun and easy to handle.
So I'd say there isn't a typical day in Oxford. So some days I might wake up early because I have like a 9 a.m. lecture or a 9 a.m. tutorial. Kind of do that and maybe do my work for the rest of the day, and then like chill in the evening or meet friends. Other days I may not have anything on, so I'll wake up whenever I want, get food with college friends, again maybe do some work during the day, and then again an event in the evening. Other days I might just not do any work. Other days I might be spending my whole day doing work. So it really varies. But the main thing I'd say is that you can really, like, you're very much in control of your own routine, and lectures and tutorials shouldn't take up too much time. So you're allowed to do things when you want, I guess, as long as you get them done.
My typical day as a medic, usually it's normally a 9 a.m. start and typically like a 9 to 12 day. I have about 2 lectures per day and then sometimes a practical or a seminar afterwards. We always come back to college for lunch because Keble is the closest college to the medical sciences teaching building, which is super useful. Yeah, it also means that we can come back for naps in between lectures sometimes, which is like well needed. And then if we have an essay due for the week, we'll normally come back and write the essay in the library. And then you can just hang out with your friends for the rest of the evening, which is quite nice.
I think there's an average day at Keble, but if I had to average the past 3 years, I'd probably have about 2 to 3 lectures in the morning, and early afternoon I have a tutorial or a practical. And then unlike most people, I just basically chill all afternoon and all evening because I found I work better at 9 or 10 p.m. until they get tired. Some people do the opposite. Some people think that's stupid, but I think you definitely just find your own work-life balance, and there's no day that you should have or no day you're expected to have.
A typical day at Keble for me would usually be to have a bowl of cereal in my room or a cooked breakfast in hall. There's brunch at weekends, which I never miss out on. And then normally I have lectures at 9 at the Taylorian Library, which is just down the road from Keble. And then the main part of my day I'd spend doing bits of work, writing essays in my room or a library, and going to tutorials, of course. And then in the evenings, I always try and make time for socialising, whether that's eating dinner with friends, going to events, or just hanging out in people's rooms.
A typical day for me at uni, I'd probably wake up at about 8, I'll have a class or a lecture in the morning, and then I'll go to the library, either the faculty library or Keble. Then I'll have lunch with my friends, we'll go back to the library, but sometimes I'll have a class in the afternoon. Then I'll probably leave the library at around 6, depending on how much work I have. Sometimes I can leave earlier, sometimes I have to stay later. And then in the evening, I'll generally have tea with my friends. We might go out to a society event, or we'll go to the college bar, or we might go for a drink and go to the club.
A typical day in my life tends to start at sort of 9 a.m, heading to breakfast in the canteen with some of my friends, and then perhaps calling my brother or my mum or one of my home friends on the way to a lecture. It usually starts about 10. And then from that point onwards, I'll head to get some reading done for my weekly essay, or I'll get some essay writing done, whatever really. I'm also JCR Vice President, which means I'm sort of Vice President of the Student Council type thing. So I often get some admin done, and then I'll usually head out to a society event, so sort of like a club putting on a debate or a speaking series, then head back to eat in college and have sort of a chill movie night in with my friends.
So for me, no day is the same, but generally I will get up early, go to the Keble gym, have breakfast, and then go to the library for a few hours to get my reading done. In the afternoon I might have a lecture or a tutorial, and then after that I'll probably go back into the library for a few more hours and spend that time reading. After dinner I normally spend time with my friends or go to a dance class.
There's always time to do things other than studying at Oxford, because usually the times for your lectures and your practicals will run from probably like 9 to 5, but that's not every single day. So let's say on a Monday you could have a lecture from 9 to 11, and then you've got the rest of your day free with some tutorials. So there's lots of time available that you can like factor in to do stuff. You just have to sort of work your timetable out effectively. You could always do stuff in the morning, in the evenings, in the afternoon. So you definitely will have loads of time to do things, because I managed to do a lot, like despite being a medic and having a really heavy timetable.
There's definitely time to do other stuff. I mean, even though the workload can be hard at times, I think I play football for Keble, and also football for the university and netball for Keble. So I think it is possible to have other activities that you do. You just have to be careful with what you schedule in at certain times, for instance.
To find time to do stuff other than study, I found that quite difficult at first, but once you get into the routine that's associated with your timetable, it becomes quite easy to find gaps where you can do things other than study. For example, I get up in the morning and do rowing and things before I study, and chill with my friends in the bar at Keble quite a lot, which is nice to do, like to catch up on the week's work and stuff like that, just have a chat.
I would say it's definitely easy to find time to do other things, but it just depends on how organised you are as a person. So I personally don't have that many contact hours each week, but I have a lot of reading that I need to do for my essays. So I've still been able to do loads of other things in my time. So I've been volunteering, I've been on loads of different committees for societies, just going out with my friends as well, like going to the pub, going clubbing, going to society events. There's so much that you can do, but it just definitely depends on how you balance your own time.
At first it can be tricky finding time to do anything else other than study if you think you have to spend all your time doing essays, but if you just realise that you don't have to go over and above every single week, because no one can, and that's just not all that uni's for, then there's definitely time to do things other than study and pursue other interests. And most people have like other time commitments which they fit perfectly around studying. So yeah, once you realise that it's okay and necessary to take a break, there's definitely time to do other things than study.
I think that it's a lot of work, but also there is so much time to have fun. Don't feel like you're not going to have fun if you come to Oxford. I've had the funnest 2 years of my entire life. Obviously we do have to work because we're here to get a degree, but I have enough free time and I have a lot of things that I like to fill it with. So I play football for the university. I'm always hanging out with my friends. We go to the pub, we go and sit in parks, we go for walks. There's loads of different things that you can do. And it's really nice being so central in Oxford because it means that everything is right on your doorstep.
You absolutely have time to do stuff other than study. In my time at Oxford, I have been involved with the University Dramatic Society, the University Filmmaking Foundation, Keble Chapel, Keble Outreach, and the Keble O'Reilly, which is Keble's own on-site theatre, which is so cool. And I can also proudly say that I have never missed an essay deadline, so you absolutely have time to do things other than study.
So yeah, there's plenty of time to do other stuff apart from studying. In general, like the workload can be a lot, but like you'll find yourself free to do other things. Personally, I was part of the Law Society, also did football in college, also part of the ACS, and yeah, I've just been to events here and there. So yeah, I've done a lot of things in Oxford that don't include studying, which has been really good.
So I personally have taken up student journalism since I've arrived, which is something I'd never done before. But it's been really, really interesting. I've written 2 student papers and edited sections in 2 different student papers as well, which has been so fun. I've met lots of people from across the university and across different subjects who I might not have met otherwise. It was definitely worth doing.
I actually joined the choir, so I am a choral scholar at Keble. That's probably been the most enjoyable part of my university experience. We've been on lots of tours, we've done some recordings on BBC Radio 3, so I feel so lucky to have had that opportunity at Keble.
Since arriving at university, I've started rugby, so I played that in college. It's been so much fun. I thought I would hate it, but I absolutely love it. So that's the great thing about university and also being at Keble, is there's people all around you who want to teach you new things and want you to help kind of discover what you like, what you enjoy.
One thing that was new that I tried up was taking up rowing. I enjoyed it for a bit, but then I stopped because I just didn't like the early morning starts. But there is still a lot of range of things that you can take up for yourself to start afresh or start something new. So probably when I'm back, I'll try and find something fun for me to do as well.